Creative people tend to see things differently than most people. That's actually a big component of being creative. But if you felt like you've been taking things for granted, not noticing the things that used to blow your mind, this is for you. I should also clarify that when I say creative people see things differently than most people, I think that anyone and everyone can be creative. I think that we're all born with the capacity for wonder. We start off noticing everything and wanting to put most of it in our mouths for some reason. It's disgusting, really. And we're curious about all of it. The world and everything in it is new to us, and curiosity pulls us in different directions down various rabbit holes, leading us to inspired play, endless questions, and potentially some dangerous situations. Our curiosity is a direct response to things we don't understand, things we've never seen before, things that call to us until they don't. And we could blame it on our education or pop culture or our upbringing. What's important is that we can do something about it. Anyone can be creative. Anyone can learn to look at the world from their own unique perspective, to notice things, to appreciate things, to wonder. But even if you're someone who considers themselves creative, maybe even a creative professional, ooh, impressive.
Wow.
You might have lost the wonder aspect of your perspective somewhere along the way. Actually, I think this is a normal thing. Like I said before, when we're young, everything is new. We really haven't seen it before. It's all mind-blowing. It's kind of a shame we have no memory of the first few years of our existence because every experience is the most amazing thing. If you've ever seen a baby hold a carrot for the first time, you know what I'm talking about. The things we now consider as mundane are amazing to us as babies. As we get older, not knowing things becomes something to conceal. Being amazed by something which other people consider commonplace is a sign of ignorance or immaturity or worse, uncool. There's a famous clip of George Bush Sr. going to a grocery store and being amazed by the barcode scanner in 1992, nearly 2 decades after they became commonplace. That didn't help him politically, but it was an honest reaction. In fairness to him, it is kind of amazing. But when people saw how amazed he was, it was obvious he'd never done his own grocery shopping, which made him immediately unrelatable, and he lost that election to Bill Clinton. So I think we have a tendency to mute our reactions to things out of a fear of seeming inexperienced or dumb, and not just if we're in politics. Our society values expertise, but as creatives, the less we think we know conclusively about something opens it up that much more to our curiosity. The more we can be amazed by what we are experiencing, even if it's familiar to us, the more inspiration we stand to gain. But manufacturing amazement is a tall order. We can't really fake being blown away by something. However, we can take steps to notice more, to work that muscle. In psychology, there's a technique called behavioral activation, which is basically going through the motions of certain desirable behavior, which over time can have the effect of the patient actually feeling the way they're behaving. It's a lot like what actors go through when they truly inhabit a character. They feel what the character feels. So piggybacking off of that, when we commit to doing certain activities designed to have us notice more and appreciate more, we tend to do just that. Gratitude journaling is an example of this. When we decide to write down X number of things that we're grateful for each day, we end up going through each day feeling more grateful because our brain starts to collect things, to seek out things to appreciate. So here are 3 ways we can condition ourselves to stop taking things for granted and experience the world again. Number 1 is to carry a dedicated documentation device. That sounds more complicated than it actually is. Smartphones are amazing devices, and they can do almost anything we need, but that's also why I'm suggesting not thinking of them for this purpose, at least to start with. Once we develop these habits, then it becomes less important which device we use. But when I got my Nikon J5, which is this nifty little micro 4/3 camera that is discontinued, sorry, it really changed the way I looked at things. I'm not a photographer, but I enjoy taking pictures. It was something about having a camera with me that put me into this mode of observation that I don't really get when I just have my phone. Even though my iPhone 13 Pro is probably a better camera, I don't feel the same way about it. Being in the mindset of wanting to capture something but not knowing what it is, it's like constantly waiting for something to reveal itself and trying to be ready for it. Not knowing exactly what it is we're looking for causes us to study what we see in a deeper way. But we can apply this idea in other ways beyond photography. You could carry a sketchbook if you're into drawing, or a notebook and write down descriptions of what you see and hear. Overheard conversations can be the beginnings of a story. Or I've also thought about carrying an audio recorder to do some sort of field recording when I hear an interesting sound. It's a great way to tune into the auditory environment and notice sounds that normally blend into the background. Again, you could accomplish these things with your phone or iPad, but you might be like me and then having a dedicated device puts you in a different mindset. Speaking of different mindsets, that ties in nicely to my second suggestion, flipping the script. Routine is the silent killer of creativity and wonder. So do something different. Break your routine. Rearrange your workspace or go somewhere completely different to work. I mean, don't show up at someone else's job, but depending on what you do, you might be able to get some work done outdoors or at a library or a coffee shop. But if you have a routine where you commute to work, one simple way to flip the script is just by going a different way, either on the way there or on the way back. Maybe it feels totally wrong and takes longer, but notice what you see along the way. I do this a lot when I'm walking my dog. I'll suddenly decide to go somewhere new and, my dog doesn't complain. New stuff to sniff. It's a win-win. Another thing we can do to flip the script is engaging in random acts of curiosity. Journalists are some of the best at this. They write sometimes about something completely random that they got curious about and decided to pull on that thread. I look at a writer like Michael Lewis, not a journalist, but as a great example of someone who dives deep into subjects as diverse as baseball, finance, and civil servants. But random acts of curiosity could come in the form of pulling a random book off the shelf at the library or bookstore and flipping it open to a random page and just trying to make sense of it. It's really about taking that extra moment to ask why. Why is it like that? Or how does this really work? That doesn't mean we have to publish a piece in the newspaper about it, but the act of inquiring is really what we're after. This really gets to the true meaning of wonder. It's about asking questions. The third thing is the trickiest, hitting pause. When we hit pause in a movie or a video, we freeze the moment, and depending on when we hit the button, it could be a funny image or a disturbing one. I remember my kids would love it if we paused a movie to make popcorn or something and the actor had a silly expression on their face. They would erupt with laughter. When we pause a movie, we will notice things in the background that might have flown by us in the course of following the story. And it's kind of the same thing in life. When we get busy, moments fly by us. People are talking to us, but we're maybe only picking up on a fraction of what they're saying because we're skipping ahead to the next scene of the movie in our head. But pausing ourselves in whatever we're doing is a helpful exercise. I do this from time to time when I'm out walking or driving on my way to go teach, or even if I'm just sitting at the computer trying to get some work done. Stopping to really listen and look and notice my surroundings. The ship horn in the distance, the bird perched outside my window, the warmth coming from the radiator. Anything really can be a source of wonder. But taking these occasional pauses when we put our ambitions aside and notice something amazing will lay the groundwork for a habit of observation. In combination with flipping the script and carrying a dedicated device to document things, hitting pause now and then isn't a way of slacking off. It's a way of not taking for granted the potential inspiration that is all around us. If you enjoyed this video, you should probably check out the one I did about telling our own story in our creative work, which you should be able to click on here. Thanks so much for hanging out. I'll catch you in the next episode. Until then, keep the flow.